In this video, I'm going to cover a little bit what I talked about in the previous video, so that way I can give you kind of my origin story, the mental shift that I had. And this story is going to come from the Marine Corps. While I was kind of being raised, I was kind of just like that part-time story I gave you. I was kind of just showing up, learning as much as possible, learning what I was told to learn, and doing what I was told to do. I didn't really, sink that into where I was trying to go myself personally, my own personal achievements. And I think that until I had that mental shift to where I'm trying to get to, I didn't really spend my days, learning machine gunnery and maximizing on this knowledge that I had, right? So, the story I want to tell you about was from me becoming one of the, what we call senior lances, where we become experts at our trade, but we're still not completely in charge of, many people. I was in charge of 2 guys, right? And for me to take the next step forward in my career path, I had to become a squad leader. So what I did was I learned from my current squad leader at that time, and I said, what are things that I need to do to become where you're at right now? This is me reaching out to somebody who's in a position that I want to reach, so that way I can kind of fast track my results and kind of understand from their mindset, looking back to me where they were, back when they were senior lances. So now I'm getting kind of a little bit of a better understanding that I'm a senior lance right now. I'm trusted. I know my knowledge, and I know it well. I do my job and I do it well. This is my squad leader, the next position I want to get to. How do I get to that position without knowing how? I'm going to ask the person that's already there, right? So by asking my current squad leader, he said you have to, if you're going to do one thing, you have to do it 3 times better. Because what you want to do is you want to take the things you know now, you want to sharpen them as your tools. And so that way when you teach it to your other Marines, to your subordinates, whatever the case might be, all the knowledge you have is you're teaching it, and you're also learning from the teaching experience, right? So for you to move up, you kind of have to relate that to maybe your retail store right now, or your retail job. What you want to do is you want to connect all the tools you're learning, whether that's customer service, whether that's follow-up, whether that's, being tactful while talking to clients, whether that's, being able to be, open to your clients and not be so robotic. Whatever it is that you're learning today, you want to start sharpening those tools. You want to start challenging yourself to do a little bit better, do a little bit more, right? And so kind of when I started that mindset shift, it wasn't like a full shift. It took me a little bit to kind of understand what he was talking about. And once I kind of found out, taking the next step, taking yourself to the next level, doesn't really require too much. It just requires of what you're looking for inside yourself, what you're trying to do with yourself, right? So when we talk about all you're doing is showing up to work for a paycheck, in reality, you're not just showing up for a paycheck. You're showing up so that way you have the financial freedom. That way you don't have that worry in the back of your head that bills are coming. There's a reason why you want to make, money. And when you're making this external struggle, like your focus, you're not really growing. Once you go a little bit deeper, once you start talking about your internal struggles with yourself, like if you took that 15, 30 minutes to sit down with yourself, you start digging a little bit deeper, asking yourself, why am I showing up? That is also allowing your mindset to shift, right? So you take a little bit more time to invest in yourself into, this is where I'm at, and I need to shift my mind so that way I can keep pushing forward. Kind of when I started, emulating what my squad leader was doing, I started showing up earlier. I started taking my time more seriously while I was working. So instead of, if I had downtime, I would spend time relaxing, I would actually study harder. I would study the subjects I already knew, studied it even more so I become an expert at it. And all these little things that I was learning, I became an expert at, until it came to the point where he actually stopped having to come to me and ask me how I'm doing. If anything, I was going to him and telling him what to do next. And so I kept asking him, what do I need to do now? What do I need to do now? What do I need to do now? So that way I'm always progressing. And as I'm learning from my mentor at the time, I'm shifting my mind. And I was able to do this because, somebody was there for me to be able to do that too. And sometimes, especially in the retail environment, we get caught up in our day-to-days. We don't really know, what to do next. We're kind of just working our days, showing up, like I said, doing what we're told to do, but we're not really building something for ourselves. So what I want you to do is, I want you to think about your next step. From your job right now, whether it's towards your career path or not, I want you to think about your next step, because once you think about your next step, then you're gonna know, okay, everything that I've learned so far, I can actually use towards my future. And once you kind of understand that, you're gonna be able to dig a little bit deeper, and what we're gonna do throughout the next few videos is really dig deep to find out what your purpose is, get you that mental shift so we can start building from there. The whole goal is every every single day, we want to take 1% of a step forward to continually try to reach our goals. And before we know it, the way I was able to get my success is because I was making these small shifts every single day until it became a full shift, right? When people talk about, overnight success, for example, it's one of the biggest subjects when it comes to like professionals and, entrepreneurs and all this good stuff is everybody says, oh, like they found something and they became successful, right? It didn't really work out that way. Most of the time, what you see when people find success is, oh, they just had a breakthrough. They did something and now they're rich or they have all the happiness in the world. But in reality, you don't see all the hardship they went through, right? All the different things all these different shifts in their mind that they had to keep tweaking a little bit more every single day to take that step forward. All you see is the result. Right now, what we're trying to do with these videos is show you all these little shifts, because what the end goal is for you to find the final result of what you're working towards. Because right now, you may not even know what you're working towards, and I want you to find that out. So, stay tuned. In the next video, I'm going to go one more subject in depth a little bit. I'm going to give you a little bit of homework, so that way at least you can start, applying this to your life today. Once again, start practicing taking action. There's really no point in you learning all this material and not utilizing it. If we want to challenge ourselves to have that mental shift, tell yourself right now, you can do it, you will do it, it will be done, and it will be done. Okay, so look out for the next video, and we're going to go a little bit deeper, and make sure you do that homework.